Comedy's Best Kept Secret Tour. I'm your host, Frigolette. I'm here with Tsi Tsi Chiumya. We're here in South Africa, man. Thank you for doing this. I appreciate you. You actually slid in last minute here. We were going to have you interviewed, but you took an existing slot. So I appreciate you for being so flexible.
I was also in the area.
Yeah, that helps.
Yeah.
I also want to thank you for being so inclusive. I've been like really thinking about this the last couple days. The idea that when I first got here, I didn't know anybody. I didn't know where to go. I didn't have any shows. And then some people were just like, get there and you'll get more shows. Yeah. And I mean, you've basically been telling me where every show is, and I appreciate that. And you got me on Boxburg and some other things.
Yeah. Did you enjoy Boxburg?
Boxburg was fun. It's fun. It's funny that everyone asks me that one.
Yeah, I mean, not a lot of...
Well, because it's the extreme.
Yeah.
So the first show I played is, I don't know. It's like it feels like more of a touristy crowd, a lot of English.
Yeah.
The next crowd I played, I guess that would have been the next crowd I played. No, next crowd I played was just was Poppy's open mic.
Poppy's, but that was the worst
terrible
show
open mic
in the world.
Not in general, just that one. That night there was this accumulation factor that every comedian kept letting the audience know that it was bad, and the audience didn't think it was bad, but then they started believing that it was bad. And then Boxburg was sort of this, like, I don't know, what do you call these people? Country white?
Yeah, I think it's the idea of your country white.
Yeah.
So that's our idea of country white. So
yeah.
It's like, so if when I looked at it, it was actually interesting because the only jokes that worked were when comedians were kind of dancing. You know?
Yeah,
the idea of a black person. If you portray that idea of a black person, then they laugh really loud.
Yeah.
And if you like question the kind of hierarchy that lives in this country, then they don't really appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, that's what we have, right? So I have these jokes about leadership that relate the animal kingdom to the administration wherever you're at. Mm-hmm. And when I'm in the middle of the country, people get very tense. Yeah. Because they're wondering whether or not I'm going to try to challenge the authority.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is the same kind of notion, I think.
Yeah, I mean, and they have like pretty girls, which is weird.
Right. Yeah, it always bums you out when you see a pretty girl with a guy who
that
otherwise should not have that opportunity. Yeah. That's where I'm from. That's kind of where I'm from. Was the cool guys became this sort of this seedier bunch.
Yeah. Which is weird, because like now we look at pretty girls and like, are there standards really of choosing like a guy to like mate with? Is it like, if you're racist, you're the best?
Well, no, I think what it's come down to is that it's like it's the confidence, and these types of people have this obscene, strange, unsubstantiated confidence.
Yeah,
and that becomes the quality. Yeah. So the nice guy gets pushed away. Because he's actually a human.
Yeah, I'd hate to generalize all women's picking abilities on confidence, because it's a tough time to be against like feminism and to make any statement about like
that's
that kind
true.
of stuff. So I'm gonna
that is true, because the confident guys are the ones that are getting in trouble right now. Because they confidently pushed right through all the stop signs and the yield signs and all the barriers.
So I try my best not to like say, even in the comedy, like now I try and speak about like being confused rather than knowing anything. So like I mean, even
that's a good move. That's a good point of view to have, because then the audience doesn't think that you're taking a side, and you're just like, so you can actually tackle bigger obstacles because you're like, I don't really know. This is what they've told me, and you kind of like you get to sort of like dodge all of the angles. You know, it's something good about that. I have some good friends that do that, where they deliver a very powerful message, but they pretend like they're an idiot while they're doing it, so that it sort of like muddles the effect. Yeah, it's kind of great.
But it's kind of the world that we live in right now. Like we always I'm confused as a human being. I was born in a very confusing time in the country. You interact with a lot of confusing people. Like I don't really like in university I hung out predominantly with like white South Africans, and when I was younger, like I had never seen a white person for a very long time in my life. And so like it's a very weird transition between like not seeing a white person, seeing white people all the time, and now you're confused, and now like we're fighting the authorities, and you don't even know where you stand, like really, because like I know a couple of guys that are my friends, but I know a couple of guys that are not my friends based on the things that they do and stuff. So like that comes out in the comedy as well. Like I feel for white people in certain ways. Like I feel sorry for them. Like sometimes like you in like a Pick and Pay or like a store, and you really need help because you can't find whatever you're looking for. And now, like, if you mistakenly say to the wrong black person, "Yo, man, do you work here?"
Yeah.
Like then you.
Oh, it's like that sensitive spot. Yeah.
So it's kind of like we're living in a world where like no one is allowed to be wrong.
Yeah.
Like all the apparatus that would make you be wrong are like available.
Yeah, someone else said this to me about how being wrong is sort of like the worst thing right now in this country, and people would rather sort of like pretend like they're right or sort of like dance through this thing than like admit that they were wrong for like a second.
Yeah.
So that's a weird notion to me.
I
guess it's like that everywhere. Nobody wants to sort of like take the embarrassment, but this one's a little deeper.
Yeah, I guess. Like I mean, even in Belgium, like I felt like people were like confidently trying not to be wrong. Like even in Europe, like people just come to you and have all these ideas about like wherever you're from.
Yeah.
And then like you like it takes so much energy from yourself trying to like correct everyone. So at some point you just
agree.
You're just like, man, I'm not going to correct this guy.
So what's the common misconception of where you come from to outsiders?
It depends. Like in South Africa, like I'm from Limpopo. You were there.
Yeah, I was in Limpopo.
Yeah. So the common misconception there is like it's very rural. There's a lot of witchcraft.
Yeah, witchcraft, really?
Yeah. Well, I don't believe in witchcraft personally, but I've seen some questionable things.
Really?
So, like I'm not gonna.
Okay, all right.
So I'm not gonna like make a definite statement, but I hope I don't believe in witchcraft.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. You're like so afraid to say it because then someone who's practicing is just gonna like.
And then tomorrow I'm like mad or something.
Yeah. Interesting. So witchcraft. So we're all, well, I don't know. So I didn't get the true Limpopo experience, right? I ended up playing a casino. So that's not a
Moropa casino.
That's not a real experience.
Yeah, I guess not. It's slower than Johannesburg.
Yeah,
very.
That's true. Yeah.
Very much.
Well, and that ended up being a show. I told you that was a show that they conducted completely in another language. So that was an interesting position for me to be put in.
Oh, you're the only English.
Only English-speaking comedian, on the lineup.
Oh, cool. And they receive you well.
It's you get received well, but it's that jarring 3.5 minutes of like this was something else and now it's this and now we have to listen to this and you know what I mean? It's like that kind of thing. And there's something brilliant about the fact that you guys speak a bunch of different languages here in a comedy show. Let's even just say that there is some level of like agreement that you can speak these languages in this room at this time. But at the same time, just switching gears is always like takes that second, and it takes a full joke. So then I have to like do the joke that takes the most amount of concentration for the audience.
Yeah.
So that they actually, so that I know they'll pay attention through the rest of the set because I got to get them at the top.
But you do that well because it's interesting because whenever you remember like whenever you before a show I'd always ask you, yo man, I'd always like tell you about the crowd. I would always be like, oh man, this is a very vernacular. And then you always say the same thing to me. No, it's fine. I got it. You always say that. Because it's also one other interesting thing is that the South African crowds are very forgiving. To a certain demographic of people. So like if you are not a black like because we have you don't call them colored people, you call them mixed race. You have like mixed race comedians. So if you're a mixed race comedian, if you're a non-black comedian and you're allowed to speak English to a black crowd that would understand your mother tongue, for instance. But if you are a black comedian speaking English, then you need to have a very good reason why are you speaking English, especially if it's a vernacular crowd, because then they're very non-forgiving to like a black guy that comes in, he speaks English, and I do most
unless
of my
he's from another country, right?
Yeah,
so that's my like my go-to card is make sure they know that I'm from the U.S. And then if the host doesn't do a good job of it, I make sure that I let them know this is my first time here, so that they give me that opportunity. That's all you want. You need that opportunity. You still have to prove yourself. It doesn't matter where you're coming from. You still have to prove yourself. But you want that opportunity to have some level of credibility before anything happens.
Yeah, and I mean, like, comedy is like so open-ended. Like, every single person from every single country can experiences some sort of common thing. Yeah. That, like, I mean, like I thought I went to, like, I talk about Europe a lot because that was the first time where I learned, like, these people know exactly what we're going through.
Okay.
Yeah. So like, cause I was standing there and I'm just talking about, like, my name. So I do this joke about my name and they were laughing, like, and I was the only English speaking comedian there because everyone else was speaking Dutch and French. So then I was like the only English speaking comedian.
That's a tough position too, because what I found was that, like, you don't even get to know sort of the arc of the show because you don't know what they're already laughing at because you don't know what the hell anybody else is talking about.
Blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
ha, 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 blah,
right.
Blah, blah,
and
blah,
it's great because it looks like comedy and like it makes you realize that, like, doing the thing and showing them which one's the punchline is so important. But not having any information is a little bit detrimental.
But every comedy room has a kind of like heartbeat, like the pulse of every comedy room is like the same. Even if you don't understand the language, like the pulse, like you can hear in someone's like tone that, like, okay, there's the punchline, and then
you can tell whether or not they're doing material, whether they're doing thought-provoking stuff, or whether they're just messing with the crowd as well.
Okay, I can't do that.
You can't tell?
No.
Oh, well, because like what was it? Last show with Emilio, he was just going in on the crowd.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
And it's like it's very clear that that's what's going on. And the host, what was his name? Zico was going in on the crowd. You know what I mean? In the vernacular language, so you could tell that was what was going on. But it's for me. That was difficult, and it was like my worst nightmare because this is a lady that I had calmed down. She was trying to talk the whole show, and then she came over and she was messing with me because I was on my phone. Yeah. But I'm one of the comics, so I don't, and I'm on the side, and she's like, get off your phone. And I was like, you stop speaking during the show, and then she's like, can I have your water? And I was like, no. I was like, I'll make you a deal. I'll give you this water if you stop speaking for the rest of the show. And then she chilled the whole show until Emilio woke her back up. And then Zico woke her back up, and he brought her on stage, and she became the show, and then I had to go on, and I was like, this is my worst nightmare.
Yeah, man.
Because I also, like, I was rude to her when I was telling her that I wouldn't give her water, so I was worried that it was going to be a problem.
I don't know, man.
It worked out fine.
Yeah, I guess like not wanting to share like a bottle of water with a stranger is not that rude.
No. The way I told her no. Like I said no. I said, you're being disrespectful to the show. No, you may not have my water. I need you to stop talking for the rest of the show. That's my promise. And then she like tried to take it and pour it, and I was like, no. And I like poured it in my own glass. You saw when I was pouring in my own glass, she tried to take it from me.
Yes, I saw that.
So that's what we were doing.
I thought you guys were flirting. I don't know.
No. She was like a 55-year-old woman.
Is she 55?
Yeah, at least.
But she called everyone their child, so.
Yeah. Well, someone started that. Someone else called her mom, and that's what. And then then she owned it. Yeah.
I think it was the first comic. What's his name?
The white guy.
Yes, the white guy.
Yeah. And then she owned that. And that's the heartbeat of the show is like when that joke becomes real, it happens the whole show.
Yeah. But anyway, did you enjoy the differences in like the shows here?
Yeah, so it is interesting and somehow, and then I did a Wednesday last night at Parker's, which is the same kind of thing. It's like it's a mixed crowd, but it's a Wednesday, so it was like very low energy and whatever. So it's been it's been challenging and it's been a learning curve, and it's also been super. I don't know, enjoyable to realize that the stuff that I have will work everywhere.
Yeah.
Even in the weirdest circumstances.
Yeah. A friend of mine actually told me that it's like you need to, if you want to become like eventually like a international comedian, you need to have like a 30 minutes that can work
Yeah.
everywhere, and then that's the only way you get booked in like other countries. Like, cause imagine if you went to China, everyone knows what to poop is.
Right.
You know, if
oh, you're speaking specifically my set. Yeah.
So, like,
it's funny.
If you go anywhere else in the country, like anywhere, like we talk about like, cause like okay, maybe it's because like I've been a South African for so long, but like our South African inside jokes are so vast. Like we have so many things that like we only know, and like people outside know us for like biltong and and Mandela.
Yeah.
And, like we're like.
Well, those are two wonderful things, though.
Oh yeah, Mandela is cool. I don't know about biltong.
I love biltong.
For real?
Yeah.
Oh, you eat
that's my jam. Yeah.
Oh, that's the only like delicacy you can enjoy.
Yeah. Because it's just a wet piece of meat.
Wet?
Yeah, I like the moist one, the oily one.
The oily one?
Yeah.
Which one is that one?
The oily one. It's called moist. It's called moist biltong.
Is it?
Yeah.
Limpopo makes like quite good.
Yeah. I got it. I actually got it on the way. At one of the gas stations, which is weird because you actually have good food at the gas stations, which we don't have that. Yeah, they had a biltong stand.
Yeah. We have
food.
those.
Yeah.
Like, it's just weird that you call it good food, man. Like,
well, compared to what
like
we have,
pies.
we don't even have somebody who's made something hot that you can eat at a gas station in the U.S.
So it's just like
it's
croissants and
it's stuff that's just been prepackaged. Yeah, it's disgusting.
Yeah, it's bad. USA needs to catch up.
Yeah. Well, no, we know because we have food everywhere, so we don't need to go to the gas station.
Yeah,
to get it, I think is the problem.
Yo, you guys' food is so big. Like, oh my god, like the burgers there are like my head size.
Yeah.
Like,
wait, have you been?
Yeah, I've been to San Francisco.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I went to. So I make video games. Right?
Okay. Oh, you didn't tell me that at all. No.
Oh, cool. So
no, all you've told me so far is that you used to play sports.
Yeah,
you keep
I say that a lot.
You keep slipping that into conversations.
I say that to ladies a lot. Hey, I used to be an athlete.
So you make video games.
Yeah,
so San Francisco's a hub for that.
Yeah, so I went to a video game conference called GDC, Game Developers Conference, and so I went there and I did comedy at one night. I did comedy one night. I was still very, very new.
Yeah, do you remember what club?
I think it was San Francisco Comedy Club.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was cool. They enjoyed like 10 minutes. They enjoyed 5 minutes of my 10 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so that's good. What was wrong with the other 5 minutes?
I think it was very localized.
Okay.
Oh, wait.
Okay.
No, actually, I started talking about the illnesses that I saw in America.
Oh.
And people were like, nah.
No.
Don't talk about our stuff, man. Talk about your stuff. Because I was like, because I spoke, I remember, I don't even do the jokes. I spoke about the trains, like how everyone in the trains, like I spoke about like the number of like insane people that I saw. People just like shouting Jesus. There was a guy that just came up to me. He's like, Jesus. Can I swear on this podcast?
Yeah. Go for
like,
it.
Jesus, fuck. Like you. And I was standing at the like traffic light waiting to cross, and he just like came next to me like, Jesus, fuck Jesus.
And how did you handle it?
Well, I just stood there and I said nothing. And the other experience, I got lost because I didn't have Wi-Fi on my phone, and I didn't have like
I have that experience every day.
Yeah, a localized SIM card, so like I didn't have signal, and I was standing on a road waiting to cross. Yeah. And like a bunch of then I started walking into like the wrong direction, but I was like, okay, maybe I can figure it out if I see like some landmark or something. And then I saw like people smoking crack. Like, so I saw one person, then I saw like two people, then I saw like a bunch of people.
You walked into a crack den.
Yeah. Then I saw like a lot of people smoking crack. Yeah. And then I was like, okay, cool. I need to go back now. Yeah. Like, if I go back in the general direction, and then I stood at some traffic light, and a bunch of young, like black guys stood next to me, and one of them said, "I'm finna bust a cap in those niggas, right now."
So you were in the good area of town.
Yeah, well, I guess. I mean, everyone was recommending it to me. After. So, and then
Wait, this made it into the act? You told the San Francisco Comedy Club?
No, I didn't tell that, but it was my experience.
Yeah,
It was based on those kind of experiences, and I was like, whoa, this guy is about to kill someone.
Yeah.
Because I've listened to a lot of rap, and I know.
Yeah, those are the markers.
Like,
these are the markers of when someone says right before they're going to kill somebody.
Scared. And whenever I'd speak to someone, and another experience, some guy, just like some random ass guy, walks up to me and he said, "Hey man, you're a faggot." So I was like, "Whoa!" I was like, "No, no, I'm not."
No, with with no setup.
No, he just comes. He's like, "Yo man, you're a faggot."
Maybe
I was like, "No, I'm not." And it's like, "Hey man, you're a
Oh,
faggot." So he insists, and I'm like, "No, I'm not."
Yeah.
And it's like, "Hey man."
He was asking or he was telling you?
He was telling me.
Oh.
You're a faggot. And I'm like, okay, cool, I'm a faggot. Then he's like, yeah.
Yeah.
And he walked away.
Oh, wow.
I was like, damn.
Well, you won that interaction.
Well, yeah.
He won a little bit.
Yeah, I
but
think
you won a little bit.
After a while, I thought of all the reasons that I'm not a faggot. Then I'm like, oh man, like you just used so much wrong words to describe me. I was like, okay,
wait, how long ago was this?
It was like a year ago.
It was? Okay.
Yeah, it was a year ago. Actually, a year ago, like to the day, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
To the day.
Yeah.
This is like the 18th.
Yeah, and the 18th of last year I was
hilarious.
in San Francisco.
This is the commemoration.
Yeah, the commemoration, the 1 year celebration of the day I called the F word. I would call the F word.
I like that you call it the F word. I like that you acknowledge that it's that rank of a word, because we don't call that the F word. We call the other F word the F word.
Like F-U-C-K.
Like there's plenty of words that we think are so bad that we won't say them, and then that one we'll just say it, and we'll be like, he called me this.
Oh, cool. Well, yeah.
Although I hadn't heard anybody using that word in a long time. I haven't heard anybody say the word or have been called the word in a very long time, which is
Which is
good.
I guess we don't really do it. Like we have our own like very bad words. We have one that's like really bad. Like we don't even like the N word for us is not even like I know I've said both of the words, but just to like put you in the context of what happened.
Right.
Like we don't.
Yeah, your N word is not the level of our N word.
Nah.
This is the thing that we get from Trevor Noah. Trevor Noah had a joke about somebody drove by, called him the N word, and he said the N word that is the bottom of the barrel of things you can call me in my country. That means very little to me.
I don't know if he said this, but like the N word is just someone who listens to hip hop.
Hilarious. That's funny. That's funny. So I have heard other versions of the words here.
The K word is
the K word is the one.
The K word is our word. But like everyone has this like whole debate about the K word actually comes from Arabic and stuff. Like just don't say the word.
But you don't call each other the K word.
No.
Okay.
A black guy will never call another black guy the K word. The K word is still like very raw.
Across the board, no one says the K word.
Well, like a couple of people have had experiences of being called the K word.
Sure.
Which is
with hatred.
With hatred.
Yeah. But nobody's using it like to rhyme lyrics like Jay-Z.
I don't even think the K word is like a word that you can rhyme with anything else. it rhymes with
well, that's how hard it is. You already get that.
Yeah, see, I can't even think about it. And I'm pretty quick with my rhymes, man.
Are you? Are you a good rhymer?
Yeah, when I want to be.
Okay.
I used to, like, it's so weird. Like, I went through an experience of wanting to be everything because I wanted to be seen. But
interesting. Yeah, I think that's what happens as comedians, right?
Yeah.
There's all these things that we think we want. Like I wanted to be on radio or TV. Like it's like all these things I wanted to do, and then I found comedy, and I was like, oh, that's just the thing. Yeah.
Because you can literally say anything that you're thinking about.
Yeah.
On comedy, unless like you can say anything you want.
We have to do it. You just have to do it accurately and properly. That's all.
Yeah.
You have to do it well.
Yeah, otherwise, like, you start saying the K word. Like, I watched a comedy show yesterday where someone was like, calling women the B word, like, repetitively.
Oh.
Repetitively.
Wait, the live show?
Yeah, well, it was on television, like, on at 9:30, like, a comedy show, like, the prime comedy show of, like, South African television.
Yeah.
And this guy was just saying, B.
Really?
And then I went on to Twitter to check it out, like what people are thinking.
And they did not like it.
No, they did not like it. Because I was there when it was recorded.
Yeah.
And on the night, that was the funniest joke that comedian said. But on television, people were just like, nah, man.
That's what happens with TV is when you remove that piece, when you remove that live element of, we've all agreed that this is okay to say. Once you remove that and then put it on television, then it creates another context. And that's what's so great about live comedy and what makes it very, very difficult to do TV comedy. It really is. Stand up on TV is really like, it's like removing a couple steps. It would be the equivalent of like having sex with the TV. You know what I mean? It's like that's how much better live comedy is than TV comedy.
Sex with the TV.
Yeah, I'm just trying to come up with a good example, but I think that's it. I mean, live comedy is explosive. It's emotional. Yeah. People feel it. They understand. There's an understanding in the room of what you're allowed to do, what you're not allowed to do, what you can talk about, what you can't talk about. That there's a connection. You don't get any of that by watching it on TV. You're just one person at home playing with your phone while the TV is on.
So you think like it's a good idea to have like a set for TV? Because that's what Prince, one of the comics here, said to me. He's like, yo, man, like whenever I do TV, I do the set.
Oh.
But whenever I do everything else, like I can, because he's
maybe we just have to understand that there's a removal. Like there's a removal of credibility. There's a removal of energy. There's a removal of attention once it goes on TV. So I mean, what makes it to TV has to be the tightest, most bulletproof shit. You know what I mean? It's just that kind of thing. And then your presence on TV has to be such that like. You know, when you do those shows and you act like it doesn't matter whether they're reacting or not, that needs to be your persona on TV. Whereas in a live crowd, you want to acknowledge whether or not they're enjoying themselves, you know. But on TV, it has to be bulletproof.
I found that like your eyes matter so much more on TV because I'm very like emotionless when I tell jokes.
Yeah.
Like I just like you do like the occasional like raise your eyebrows.
Yeah.
But then I was watching because I was on the same show but last week and the week before, sorry. And then like I looked at my eyes. Like I kept looking at my eyes. I was like, I don't want to watch this guy.
Oh, wow.
Like I wouldn't want to watch this because like he's very like he's very like, oh, he's telling jokes. What he's saying is funny, but he doesn't feel like he's feeling whatever
about yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So then I was like, next time I do a television show, I'm gonna like raise a few eyebrows.
Yeah.
And like
wink
at the
look around
pretty ladies.
Yeah.
Hey, pretty.
No,
ladies.
So you're talking about the Stuart Taylor show.
I was on the Stuart Taylor. No, I was talking about a different show. But when I was on the Stuart Taylor show, I fixed everything. Well,
nice.
I hope. I was like, yeah.
Oh, very cool.
Did you do the stand-up?
I didn't do the stand-up part of it. They already had somebody on. They were just trying to get me on in general, so they got me on as in what I think looks like a more professional spot, which is like I'm one of the guys who's on the couch.
Would you have preferred to do the?
No, I don't think so. I don't know, because nobody in the U.S. they don't have the show. It doesn't really matter. So all that happens if I do that part here, then I can't do that joke anywhere. You know what I mean? It's like you can't do the joke that you did on TV if you're going to get booked at the club in that country. So
no, but the Stuart Taylor show is not airing until like.
Well, that's what I mean. So it'll air, and then I'll look like the guy on the chair that has credibility that doesn't need to perform the thing. Because the way they set up the show is these are three comics that are the funniest, and then here's a guy who's brand new to the SA scene.
Oh yeah. Well, so I did both segments, but I liked the performing bit better because like they kind of set up the show that it's like they're there to ask you questions.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're in the panel, you just have to
figure it out.
You have to figure it out and like say all these things that you're thinking.
So that's what I was saying. It was tough because I was with two monsters. I was with loyisogola and I was with Loyiso Madinga, and they are so quick and so smart and so fast.
And they know each other as well.
And they know each other and they understand the room and they understand the dynamics of South Africa. So they were able to make these jokes that I didn't even think of, which is, whenever they had an opportunity that they just took a shot at the white man, it was stuff like this at the white man. There's like all these little opportunities. Take a shot at the white man.
That should be a television show.
Take a shot at the white man. Yeah, be a good show.
Put like a random white man, and then you have to figure out like you have to take a shot at the white man.
That's funny. I like that. So there was like all these little things, and so they were just so quick and so fast and so smart, and it was hard. It was hard to stay. It was hard to stay in that game. It was like it was like being put in the fourth quarter, and the points matter, And I'm a little, it's like I know a couple shots, and I know a layup, and I know I can shoot like a mid-range 2-pointer. I'm making basketball references. You guys don't play basketball. Never mind.
No. We play football or soccer.
Yeah, so it was rough, but it was fun, and so I had to rise to the occasion. But yeah, and then Glenn Beater McPam was the guy who was doing the stand-up. Yeah.
Yeah, Glenn is like, okay, well, I don't know if we can classify him as up and coming. Maybe.
Yeah, that's why it was tough, because he has his own show.
Yeah.
And so he sat down with Stuart, and they basically were like interviewing each other.
Yeah,
it was like they were doing their own segments.
He's brilliant though.
Yeah.
I like him. So
he's quick.
Did he like take one for the white man as well?
Yeah, they were basically they would make the white man jokes about him at some point. It was great.
Did you hear that? That's a Ferrari in South Africa.
The Ducati?
Yeah.
I've seen Ferraris in South Africa though.
Yeah, well, just for your listeners, so they know we've also got like nice cars, not bicycles and lions.
I see what you said. Yeah. Bicycles and lions.
I once lied to a girl about like having a lion as a pet.
Because you thought it would get you laid?
It did.
Oh. So where was this girl from?
She was from San Francisco.
Oh,
I was there on. Actually, no. I'm lying. I was there on. I wasn't there. I was in America this time. I was there on. What's the Green Day?
St. Patrick's Day.
St. Patrick's Day.
What's the Green Day?
Everyone was green. And
yeah.
They were throwing stuff and they were drinking.
It's a great day to be from another country. Yeah.
Oh, it was amazing.
It's so funny. You told you had a lion as a pet.
Yeah, I did. And they believe it because everyone does it. Like it's like a taboo joke to tell people from overseas. Like, yo, man, I actually wanted to.
How did you show her pictures of this lion?
I didn't. I just told her I had one.
That's amazing.
Me. Yeah. The best person I met in San Francisco was a Uber driver.
Okay.
But it wasn't an Uber, a Lyft. A Lyft driver. She was amazing. She was like so cool, and she just like we don't get like a lot of female Uber drivers or like Lyft drivers, and we picked up this Russian guy because you can do that thing where you
pool.
Yeah, the pool, and we picked up this Russian guy, and that guy just spoiled the mood.
Oh yeah,
because he just I don't want to hear this music. This music is too loud.
Oh wow.
Like spoiling.
So he wanted to just sit and not talk.
Yeah. Do people like come at you for Trump a
lot? Where? Here?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, no one really cares because we have like.
Yeah, well, it depends.
Bad,
so,
like
here's the thing: is depending on the videos that you're watching. Because I saw a video yesterday where Zuma couldn't say the word beginning, and he kept trying to say it over and over and over again. So there's this thing with your president where he also kind of doesn't speak perfect English.
Yeah.
But he's brilliant in his mother tongue.
Yeah.
But it makes it difficult. But the other problem that you guys have is that you got somebody that you're asking to leave and he won't go.
Yeah.
We're not at that position yet. Hopefully soon.
Yeah. No, yeah.
But I think we'll end up in the same position. Is if we asked him to go, he just won't go. He'll stay.
Do you know what? I think that Trump became president it was a mistake. Like, I think he just went, like, he was, like, trying to, someone said this in the States. Like, I honestly think this as well. I think he was trying to, like, promote, like, the next season of Apprentice.
Hilarious. Well, more than this, he was supposed to be the third tier guy. Like, he was supposed to be number 3.
Yeah.
And that was the campaign that he paid a guy to run that campaign. And then when they came out of the gates and they were top 2, he was like, oh. He fired that guy, and then they started over and they started a new campaign. But more than that, I think we found that he lost the popular vote.
Yeah,
Hillary won the popular vote. But the way that our country works is a little backwards.
What is the popular vote? Is it
so you guys will vote for a party.
Yes.
And then we have that similar thing with his electoral votes, but then we also have the popular vote. Now, the electoral vote is supposed to match in some way the popular vote. Popular vote is literally every vote counted.
Okay.
So Hillary got every vote counted more than Trump did, but the Electoral College gave it to Trump. So each state, based on population, gets a certain number of electoral votes, and that's how they do it, because it's just faster to count it that way. You have to get to 271.
Okay.
So he got to 271 first, but then once all the ballots were in, it seemed like he didn't get it. But the way our elections work is once you concede, and it's very important to concede once they've done most of the math. Okay. So Hillary conceded. So once you concede, you can't go backwards. So you can't challenge the thing. It's just the way the democracy of our country works. So once you say, I'm conceding, you've taken the presidency, you're welcome, then that person's president regardless. And that happened with Bush, and that happened with Trump, and that happened with, there's been a couple other people that did not win the popular vote but won the electoral. And then yeah.
So like in like 100 years time or like 500 years time, like there'll be so many like celebrities that'll be like, I was president like 5 weeks ago.
We've opened the door. We've opened the door for celebrities to become president.
Everyone wants to become president now. Oprah wants to become president. I don't know if
she's the most powerful woman in America, so she has the opportunity. Okay. It's a perfect culmination of Trump is president now. No one's happy except for the people that sort of don't really get it. And then so you have black, feminist, liberal, and sort of socialist kind of votes all in.
Don't you have to be married to become president?
She's married.
No, she's not.
Yes, she is.
She like took an oath that she won't get married.
No, Oprah's been married for 40 years.
40 years?
Yeah, she's been married since she had her talk show. She's always been married.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yes.
But because okay, here's the thing about like our presidencies. We have like all our presidents, right, come from like an era of like the struggle heroes that fought for against apartheid.
Yeah.
So like we have like we don't have a big pool of like who can become president. Yeah. The criteria is basically, have you been through the struggle?
Yeah.
And you're like, no. They're like, okay.
That's our equivalent. We played with that one for a while. The equivalent. So that was all of our first presidents, right? So the first 30 years of our democracy, that was the same thing. Everyone that had a say in writing the documents, Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, all the guys that were there, they were all in line for it. Anybody who fought in the war, anybody who was who knew Washington. Yeah, that was the same thing. So you guys are in that same position now. Except what's weird is we didn't have. Well, no, we didn't have any. We didn't actually have any corruption or seizure or anything like that you guys have.
Yeah, we have. Well, I don't want to call it a lot because I don't know. I mean, this one is like the most prominent case of corruption, but I don't think we have that much corruption because I mean, like a lot of people managed to get through school, and so I think apartheid was the one corruption that was the worst because like that's one is still affecting us now. Like black kids don't get like proper education. Yeah, and like people are like fighting. Like people call being a domestic worker like actual work here, and you get paid like 400.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out. The conversion rate on what the minimum wage would be, and it's like a weird because if you're full-time employed, it's different. So it's like we don't have that's separate. I guess we have that separation, but the separation isn't that big. So the separation is very, very little. So the separation here is huge.
Yeah.
Like so I was talking to some people. So like how much money you make if you're full-time employed, 40 hours, the whole thing, all that is way different than just being a part-time employee.
$100 a month to feed like a family of like 4.
Right. Well, and then some other people were saying that it's wrong or it's whatever, but there is this thing where you could theoretically feed your family on that because there are other options or whatever of living in poverty that people have figured out, but that doesn't make it right. Because everybody's gonna figure out how to live, but it's like it doesn't make it an excuse.
I don't know, man. I don't like the idea of someone working for someone else, like as a domestic, like washing their dishes, cleaning their floors, taking their dog's poop, and as a form of employment, to feed. Like
someone has to do it, but it has to be for some people, but it has to be at a wage that makes sense. So I mean, the equivalent is in New York City. If I want to get my apartment cleaned, 1 hour is cost me $50.
Yeah.
So it's like so that's the level. So it's like once we recognize that it's a crap job, then we put this other price tag on it.
Oh, it's cool.
But we've gone way out of the circle of what's funny and what's fun and what's whatever the problem with politics. But let's have you plug all your stuff. How would they follow you? How would they find you on the web?
Okay, my name is Tsi Tsi Chiumya. I'm Tsi Tsi Chiumya. TSITSICHIUMYA on all social media except Snapchat. I'm Chitsi on Snapchat. It's CHEATSI.
By the way, he only rejoined Snapchat because I said I found him on Snapchat, and then that Americans love Snapchat, and that we need and that he needs to use it. So he's back on Snapchat for probably for like another 6 weeks. He's gonna give it up again, but
no, I'm not.
But it's
actually uploaded a video, I think yesterday.
Oh no way. Cool. Well, it's very fun talking to you. I appreciate you. Thank you for everything that you've been able to facilitate for me out here on this trip. This is the Comedy's Best Kept Secret Tour podcast. We're on iTunes, Google Play, Podbean. Wherever you found us, we're on the other one. We also have some content today that we put on YouTube of this conversation. It's very boring. It's just us sitting next to each other, but you should check it out.
No, it's not boring.
You can see what we look like. But keep listening. Thank you so much. We'll try to bring you good content wherever we can. Goodbye, South Africa.